children. Today we are going to start a new topic of chapter 1, that is vegetative propagation, right? In simple terms we can say that if any of the plant reproduce by the parts like root, stem and leaves, then this process of reproduction is known as vegetative propagation, right? It means besides seeds, they don't use seeds for the process of reproduction. They use their vegetative parts. And which are the vegetative parts? Stem, root and leaves. A very good example of this we can see in potato. Potato is a type of modified stem, right? The same case is with the carrot and the radish. Radish and carrot are the modified root. So potato, carrot and radish, these are the stem and roots respectively. If we bury their parts, their piece into the soil, they develop into a new plant. A very good example you can see here the picture. This is a potato, it is a type of stem and you can see the roots are coming out of the potato, right? So if we bury these kinds of potato in the soil, it develops into a new plant. But very interesting thing I am going to tell you is about the bryophyllum plant. There is a plant called bryophyllum. Its leaves are so beautiful with several buds at the margin. As you can see in the picture that there are several buds which are lying at the margin of the leaf, and when these kinds of leaves are buried into the soil, they develop into a new bryophyllum plant. But children, there are certain plants which do not produce flower, right? Which do not produce flower. So how do they reproduce? They reproduce through the spores. Now what are spores? As you can see here, this is a leaf of a fern plant and many round structures are lying over the leaf. These round structures are the spores. They are round, they are small and they are light in weight. They can be dispersed easily into the different directions, and then when they get the suitable conditions, I mean air, water and warmth, they give rise to a new plant. Now which kind of plants reproduce by spores? Which do not have flowers, which do not produce flowers. For example, very simple example, mushroom. You might have seen mushroom, right? So mushroom is a very good example of a plant producing by spores. This leaf which I am showing you here is a leaf of fern plant. Okay, so that was about reproduction by vegetative propagation and reproduction by spores. Now next topic we are going to talk about is the types of crops, right? There are basically, now crop means when the similar kind of plants are grown on a large scale, right? If you will plant one plant in your garden, we cannot say it is a crop. If thousands of plants are planted, then it is called a crop. Now if we talk about the season, based on the season, there are two types of crops, kharif crops and rabi crops. As you can easily read out, kharif crops are the crops that grow during summer season. For example, rice and maize. And rabi crops are the crops that grow during the winters. For example, wheat and barley. But what is this process of growing crops called? This process of growing crops is called agriculture, kheti karna. As we know, agriculture is the process of growing crops on a large scale. But it seems to be very simple process, right? But it is not as simple as it appears, right? It has several steps which we need to know, which we need to follow. Only then and then we get the healthier plants. The very first step of agriculture is plowing. See, The first step of agriculture is to prepare the soil in which you are going to sow the seeds, right? So how will you prepare the soil? By plowing it. What will happen by the plowing? As you can see the tractor, right? It is running through the field. It is clearing the soil. It is preparing the soil. If you will follow the plowing, what will happen? The air will enter into the soil. It would be aerated, right? The weeds means unwanted plants which were there into the soil will be uprooted, right? So first of all, we need to prepare the soil for the process of agriculture, and this is the first step. Now the second step is to sow the seeds. A farmer selects the seeds which are very healthy, and then farmer sow the seeds into the soil, as you can see the picture, right? But the sowing is not easy. You should sow the seeds at the right distance. As you can see in the picture, the seeds are at the equal distance from each other, so that each seed should get enough amount of air, water and sunlight. They should not fight with each other for getting the nutrients, right? So for their growth and development, a right distance should be maintained between the seeds. So this is the second step, sowing the seeds. Now the third step is to add manure and fertilizers into the soil. After sowing the seeds, what you will do? You will add manure and fertilizer, correct? Now what is the need of adding manure and fertilizer? In simple terms, we can say manure and fertilizers, they add to the growth of seeds. They add to the growth of crops. They provide them with the extra nutrition, correct? Right? Then the next step is that is fourth step of agriculture is irrigation. See, whatever manure fertilizer you have spread into the field need to be absorbed by the soil. How they will absorb? When you will water the field, right? Along with the water, those manure and fertilizers would be absorbed into the soil and will reach the crops or the plants, okay? So irrigation is the fourth step. Then the fifth step is the crop protection. As you know that pollution is increasing, number of diseases are increasing, right? So it is very, very important to protect the crops against the diseases. As we fall ill from the several diseases, plants are also living. They may fall with the different diseases. So protect them from the diseases. We need to do this fifth step of agriculture, that is crop protection, right? There are several insects which harm the crop. Like very common example is a grasshopper, right? So to protect the crop from insects, from diseases, from the pests like rat, they eat away the crops. So it is very, very important to spray the medicines or to spray the insecticides and pesticides. Insecticides are the medicines which kill the insects, and pesticides are the medicines which kill the pest like rat, which harm the crop, okay? Now the sixth step, when your crop is ready, it is ripened, right? Then the sixth step is to cut the crop, ripened crop. And this process of cutting the ripened crop and gathering it is known as harvesting. Now people also do it manually. I mean, they appoint the laborers for doing it, or they may use machines like combine to do that. After cutting the crops, the very important step and the last step of agriculture is storage. We need to store the grains like wheat and rice into the room or into the container which is dry and free of moisture. What will happen if it would be moist? If you are storing your grains into a moist room or a moist container, the moisture promotes the growth of microorganisms, right? So what will happen? if you will store your crops or your grains into the moist environment, the microorganism will grow and they will spoil your stored grains. So it is very, very important for the process of storage that whatever container you are using it for storage should be dry, should be free from any kind of dirt, dust. So you need to clean it before storing, right? Keep it in the sunlight before storing. Now, as you can see the picture in front of you, these are the big containers called silos, right? What are they called? Silos, in which the grains like rice and wheat are stored on a large scale. So children, I hope you all must have understood the whole concept very clearly. If you have not understood, listen to the videos, watch the video again and again, and try to understand the concepts clearly. All the best. Bye-bye.